One of the new and exciting areas in the Age Lab that we're working on now is behavioral decision making around such things as finance, envisioning your retirement, and the like. Really understanding questions such as, how do people think about what life tomorrow is going to be? So while retirement is the word we tend to use for it, one of the things we're learning is that both here in the United States and in many countries abroad, people no longer believe that there is going to be a retirement. They're envisioning that their best retirement plan is not necessarily a savings plan, but to work longer. And so the questions that we're trying to address are, if you frame life tomorrow, we'll call it retirement, whatever it might be, can you get people to engage more on how much they save, how much they check their plan? Will they speak to their next generation advisor in terms of what they need to do for planning, not just for old age, but planning for longevity? So as part of that, we've developed a number of tools. We've developed one tool called Frames, which is an experimental activity that we have people go through to actually, using images and pictures, talk to us about how they envision their retirement to be. And from that, we can understand better what their risk tolerance is, what they really want to plan for life tomorrow to be. We're also understanding the differences between boys and girls, shall we say, because men and women, generally speaking, do look at risk in the future differently. Men tend to be far more objective and narrowly focused on how much they want to save for retirement. What we're finding is that women tend to be far more comprehensive. They care about the amount, they care about the money, but they also care about how their retirement and planning decisions for the future will impact everyone else around them. And frankly, retirement's not just about the next generation of old, it's about all of us, because with any luck, all of us will be older. So the multi-generational approach to how retirement's going to be looked at. The younger baby boomers, those that say between 45 and 55, really are suspicious that retirement's ever going to happen at all. Generation X, the folks that are right behind them, or Dankai generation, you might call them in Japan, frankly believes that they're going to be working for a very long time. And frankly, as they do their planning, they believe that they have to do their planning online, do their own research, and that frankly, large institutions and financial advisors may not be entirely trusted. And the millennials or the Gen Y generation, they're still a work in progress and not quite sure whether retirement's going to happen for their parents, let alone for themselves. One of the major projects in the lab now is the future of advice. So how do people seek information with respect to health and wealth decisions? And what we have found is that the digital divide, as it was once called, about older people not being online and younger people being online, has greatly closed, or narrowed, shall we say. That older adults, painfully for me defined as 50 and older, are indeed online. And in fact, they're no longer just sharing pictures of grandchildren or sending emails to each other. They're doing online research about what is their retirement option, where to live, how much will it cost, what should I invest in. And it's not that they're only using online sources. What they're becoming is more intelligent consumers. They're doing the research online, framing their problem or what they think the solutions might be, talking to friends and family, that informal social network that almost all of us have, and women tend to even have more, and then going to the formal advisor, going to the financial advisor, going to the employer plan that's helping people retire in the future. But they don't necessarily make a decision then. They actually find out more information, come back and go back online, talk to their friends, and then come back to formal advisors, be they financial advisors, pharmacists, or doctors, with far more comprehensive and far more complex questions than we've ever had before. And so the next generation of old, that's frankly just about here now, is expecting more expertise, more information, and more personalized information on every channel, online, in person, and in any digital feed they can find. So there's the implications of a new, shall we say, older digerati in terms of looking for information and the future of advice is multiple. First, the nature of advice is going to change. Financial advisors, doctors, pharmacists, the business of advice, if you will, is going to have to learn to listen. Previous generations of older adults appreciated your expertise as a matter of authority. Declines in trust, increased education, and the ability of me to find my information as I need it is really meaning that I'm going to ask you to listen to what I think my issue is and to clarify for me what I think the information is that I've been looking at. So it's a new role. It's no longer one way, it's actually going a give and take of information. Secondly, I would say particularly in the area of financial services, there is a great opportunity now for the industry not just to think about retirement planning, but to invent longevity planning, to help people navigate longevity. Life expectancy today is 30 to 40 years longer than it was as little as 100 years ago. What we're looking for now is not someone to simply help me manage my portfolio, but to anticipate what I will be doing in older age and how much it will cost. So learning to listen, learning to chart my navigation and my longevity, and then probably third and foremost is on top of the mind of almost anyone at any age is how do you help me cut through the clutter? Information is no longer a problem. The problem is too much information about health, wealth, and everything else. So with the trusted source of advice and companies to help us make the right decisions, but to cut through what is good information and what is just pure chaff.